Hey you guys, this is Rafael from ShilohRelics.com. I sure am glad to get to be with you guys today. We'll take 1 second and say hi to my mom and dad because I know they watch these every day. Makes me so proud and I love you guys. I just want you to know that. Today we're going to talk about a very important part of Civil War artillery history, the Borman cannonball. It's the most widely used round projectile of the Civil War. Both sides used them, Union and Confederate. They show up in lots of different sizes. Matter of fact, we have them stair-stepped here. And the generic name that you hear them referred to is a 6-pounder, a 12-pounder, and a 24-pounder. They get that name because that's the size of a solid shot ball that would fire out of the barrel. Technically, it's a 3.67, 4.62, and 5.82 inch diameter bore of the cannon. They're smooth bore. They would have been fired out of a smooth bore cannon, like a Napoleon, a smooth bore 6-pounder. And when you go on to the parks, a lot of times you'll see those pretty bronze guns that the Napoleon, the 1841 smooth bore 6-pounder, they're beautiful guns. And this is what they would have fired. They were replaced later on by the rifled projectiles because a rifle projectile is going to go further and be more accurate. A lot of the early battles, like here at Shiloh, the Confederates weren't at such a disadvantage because they had mostly smooth bores. They weren't at huge disadvantage like later on because it was so thick with trees. And so you didn't have to fire as far. So they had a little bit more of a chance in a heavily wooded area than the rifle shells. These go into production because of a fellow named Charles G. Borman, B-O-R-M-A-N-N. And they show up being used as early as 1852. They're very distinctive and they go into shells that there's two kinds of main shells. You'll hear them referred to as a case shot and you'll hear them referred to as a common shell. And it's not because they're common, none of them are common, but it means it's just the inside cavity's empty, has nothing in it, and it's just designed to blow up and the parts be spread out. The case shot, however, was a whole different critter. It was designed with the balls on the inside, and when it blew up, it was supposed to act like a shotgun and just rain down hell all over everybody. So, the fuse itself is made of lead and tin. And what you did, you got the cannonball was loaded, you have the fuse on the top, and I'm going to borrow some images from the Dickey and George 1993 edition of the book. It's out of print. If you can find one, you ought to buy it because it's still a good reference book. They had some good clear pictures, and I'm going to borrow those out of my copy. You can see it has the digits on the top of the fuse, and you took basically a spike like this, and you punched how long you wanted it to burn before it exploded. And the Federal version would go up to 5¼ inches. The Confederate version went up to 5¼ inches, went up to 5¼ seconds for the Federal fuse. It went up to 5½ seconds, meaning flight time, on the Confederates. And that's basically one of the main ways that you can tell a Union from a Confederate Borman because both sides used them. They would take that, punch the fuse. In theory, when the cannon goes out the end of the barrel, the flame from the blast would reach up to the top, light that, and it would burn. If you marked it for 3, it would burn for 3 seconds and then explode. As you can see, it didn't always happen. And that's one reason I'm very thankful I've got this one. You can see that channel on the inside of it here. And that's where it would burn around and then go, and this shows the inside of the shell. There's an underplug and that channels it down and in theory would reach that charge that's inside the cannonball itself and boom. Didn't always happen because you do see these fairly regularly. This one was punched, never exploded. This one looks like it burned all the way down, and this one was never punched. And so you have the 3 variations on them. So size variation, style of the cannon that they fired out of would be different, and you can see the progression of the fuses. They're neat. Always be careful though of a cannon shell from the Civil War because they are still loaded. And if that powder's dry, it's dangerous. And I've actually lost 2 friends over the years that were drilling artillery shells to get the powder out of them, had accidents and explosions, and we lost them. And I miss you guys because back before I could afford to have it remotely drilled, there are guys that are out there that remotely drill safe distances. I used to drill them when I was young. And one of the things that I don't think I ever even told you this, Mom, so cover your ears if you don't want to hear something kind of crazy and scary. I had bought probably 8 or 10 cannon shells from the Vicksburg area, not Vicksburg, Port Hudson, and they'd been sitting in a low-lying area with water around them. I drilled the first 3, everything was fine, flush out the powder, everything's good. I'm drilling the 4th one, and I didn't have a remote drill press. I couldn't afford the $30 that it cost a piece to have them drilled at the time. Had to do it myself. And I thought everything was just, they're just all talking mess. It's not gonna hurt you. So I'm drilling and I'm sitting there and I have it between my legs drilling down. I've never been the smartest human in the world, never will be. But I drill through and all of a sudden, I look around and I'm still breathing. I was so shaken. And the bad thing was I still had 4 or 5 more to drill. But they always say if you hear the you know that you've made it, and I made it. And it took me about a month before I could drill those other ones, but I did. And I shouldn't have, but I did. And I'm still here. I won't drill them anymore. So don't you do it. It's not a smart thing to do, and I am telling you, do not do it. So be careful. Be sure and treat it like it is still live, because that powder, if it's dry, it's hot as a firecracker and it will make your day not a good day. So don't take a chance with it. Respect them all. As far as value, these are all on the site. The 12 pounder is the most common. It's the one that you'll see most frequently. It's usually a price less than the 6 pounder and the 24 pounder just because of rarity. You can go onto the site, ShilohRelics.com. You can see these. You can see lots of other projectiles. I appreciate you taking time to watch these. I hope you know how much I care about you. I want you to know that I'm thankful for each one of you because you let me do what I don't know how I got so lucky to do what I do, and I am so thankful. And it wouldn't be for y'all, whether you've bought a bullet, whether you've bought a cannon, whether you've just encouraged me. I want to say thank you because I really do appreciate it. I hope y'all have a great day. I hope you remember that you're loved. When you get that chance, be sure you're kind to somebody because hopefully they'll be kind to you. If we can get that started, the whole world will be a better place. Love y'all, and I'll catch you next time.